Welcome back to the Venom Workshop. So today what we're going to do is we're going to remove the body off a 1300 watt. It's not a horrible thing to do. It's not real hard. It is a bit time consuming, but we'll get it done. It's like I said, it's just you're going to have to take off some screws and bolt. Excuse me. The handlebars are going to have to come off. Both hand grips are going to have to come off, and then we'll just lift the body off. We're not going to take away any hoses off the brake caliper, or sorry, the brake master cylinders or anything like that. So we won't have to fill any master cylinders or do any brake bleeding, anything like that. We're going to do it a quick and easier way than that. So you're going to need a set of snips. You're going to need a number 5 Allen key. You're going to need a 10mm wrench. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver and a number 4 Allen key and a number 3 Allen key. Either way, we're going to get this done really fast. So I usually just have like an Allen key set. It's the easiest way. But what we're going to do first is we're going to take the seat off. The seat's not really very difficult to take off. I'm just going to adjust the camera. Okay, so the seat, reach underneath here, little tab, pull it up, seat comes back and comes off. And I'm going to do, just like I do pretty well with everything, I'm going to start at the back and work my way back. So just let me grab my tools here real quick and I'll be right back. Right, so where I'm going to start is these two bolts back here, right here and here. I'm going to take them out. And then we're going to take those two out. Now to take those two out, you're going to need a 10mm. And you're just going to put your 10mm underneath on the nut. Like that. My bolt came out there and fell down, of course. And I don't know where it fell, but oh, there it is. Now I'm just going to put that nut and that bolt together. And then I'm going to go to the next one, do the same. Just take that one off. I'll put those together. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take footwell off. Now we don't have to take off the complete footwell to remove the body. We just have to remove these screws here, or these bolts here. And usually you can hold the nut with your fingers. Pop that off, leave the little rubber grommet on it, and then put the nut back on. And yeah, just leave your nut with your bolts like that, so then you don't get confused. Now there's going to be one bolt underneath here, right here, and that's a 10mm. So we're going to take it off too. just like that. Put that there. Now, we also have to take off our gear selector switch. That's right here. And you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. You just hold the switch when you unscrew it. Then you just want to pop that off like that. And usually what I do is I'll just leave the screw in the top of it and then leave it in my bolt tray with all my bolts. And that's everything that holds this body on this side. So now I'm going to scoot over to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off all the bolts on that side, same as like I did on this side. And then I'm going to show you how to remove the handlebars, get all the switches off, and then we're going to have to unplug a few wires. We're going to have to unplug our headlight wire, our ignition wire, and our tail light wire. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, take all the bolts off the other side, and then I'll brake. Okay, so we're up here at the handlebars. So next, what we have to remove is our brake handles. So to remove the brake handles, you're going to need a number 4 Allen key. And you're going to want to take the perch right off. So just loosen it. Now when you take the perch off like that, you can just let it hang like this, but go ahead and put your bolts and your the front of the perch back on. There we are. Like that, and just leave it hang. We're also going to loosen up our throttle, and our throttle is a 3 mil. And you don't have to take the throttle right off, and you don't have to take the bolt right out. Just loosen it so it moves freely, like that, because we're going to pull it off the end. But I don't want to pull on it because I don't want to pull on the wires. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. Now, the other side, you need to take off the brakes as well. So it's going to be the same thing as taking off this side. You're going to need your number 4. That. Like that, and then we can just remove the perch, the piece of plastic out of there, and then we'll put the perch back on. Just like that. Oops. Okay, and then we can just leave it hang too. We're not actually going to be taking this switch off or this hand grip, nothing like that. We're going to leave it on there because we don't need to take it off. So now we're going to loosen our handlebars. And the reason I want to loosen the handlebars like that is so I can move them over, so I can take my throttle off like that. Just let my throttle hang down. Now I can take off my handlebars, but I'm not going to just yet. because I want to snip the wires, or all the zip ties that are holding the wires. So I'm going to have to show you how to do all that. So we're going to come back here again, start at the back. And the reason I'm starting at the back is we're going to cut the wire, or sorry, the zip tie that holds the brake wire on. Right there. So that zip tie has to be snipped. And this plug has to be taken apart. Okay. Now we're going to come up a little bit farther to right underneath here. And right here, there's a boot that holds all the wires stuff together. You're going to want to snip those too. Some have one, some have two. So this one has one on it. So we just want to fold that out because we're going to have to unplug a couple wires in here. So we're going to have to unplug our headlight wire and our ignition wire. So I'm going to pull them both down so I can show you what they are. Maybe we can get a better view from the front. There we go. I'm going to get a better look. So this is your ignition wire right here. So you want to unplug that. And it goes to a blue and an orange wire plug. So we're going to disconnect that. Now we have to disconnect our front headlight, which is right here. And it goes to a 3-prong plug at the back that has 2 reds, a black, and a green. So we're going to disconnect that like that. And that's all the plugs that we have to disconnect now. Now we're going to go back up here. We're going to show you how to lift the body off now. There we go. Now, we can go ahead and remove our handlebars. Then I'll show you why I left that switch on. Okay, like that. Okay, now we can put our little bolt tray down here. Now, when you go to take the body off, I'm just going to stand up. What you want to do is you want to lift your handlebars up like this. Pull your switches all up together like this, because they're all going to go out that hole. So now you lift up. Like that. Then you let all your switches and your handlebars just go through the hole. Don't force them. Let them go through gently. Like that, and then your body is off. So that's the full body right there. Underneath. So now that this is off, I'm like this little rubber cap, I'll slip that back on the headlight better. Before I put this stuff together, I'll put this back in better. But that's it. So that's how you remove the body off the 1300W. Now give me a couple minutes and I'm going to show you how to put it back on. Alrighty, so we're ready to put the body back on. Now to put the body back on, we're just going to do the exact same thing we did to take it off. Now I'm just going to let it sit here like this first. Now you're going to want to put your tail light wire, make sure, and put it between the frame and down there, right where by the latch is, and that's how it hooks on there and goes underneath, and that's where we're going to do the zip tie for it. Now to get this done, we're going to lift up like this. I'm going to grab all of our stuff that we did put through our throttle right here. Now we're just going to put this all up through that hole. Oh goodness! All up through that hole again. start with your brake handles. And your throttle. And just get them to come through. Oop, I dropped my throttle. So I want that. It's very important. And then you can lift your handlebar through like that. And don't worry about straightening up the wires. We can do that in a few minutes. And again, it's going to be the same with your throttle wire and your light wire. And then just wiggle it a bit. Like that. All of our stuff's together. And we can wiggle it and maneuver it around until it's back down into place. And then just leave all this stuff hanging down like that. It's not going to hurt anything. And now the first thing you're going to want to do is before you start bolting down the body or anything like that, is get your wires back into place to where they have to be clipped. And it's just so you can route your wires while you can still lift the body up and down. So we're going to come over here. We're going to drop down because we want to get to our light wire and our ignition wire here again. Okay, so our light wire kind of went sideways here, so we're just going to feed it back. This is our light wire, and we're going to feed it down through there. I'm going to lift up my little rubber cup that protects the light bulb, put it back in place. There we go. And now my light is where it's supposed to be. Up and over there. There we go. And my ignition wire is right here. So remember, the light wire unplugged from a plug with a double red, a black, and a green. So we're going to plug it back in. And then our ignition unplugged from the orange and the blue. So we're going to plug it back in. And all that's good right now. We can put that boot back on. But we might as well go ahead and finish. I usually do the boot last. I'll get everything else lined up first, and then I'll do the boot last, and I'll show you why I do that too. And I can go ahead now. I fed my light down. I want to make sure it's down in the right place for the back. I can go ahead and plug it in like that. So I got my tail light wire plugged in there too. You can see it plugged in right here. We're not going to zip tie it yet. We're going to go ahead and center the body. So you want it, when you center the body, you want to make sure that this tab is on the outside of that mount, and the same on the other side. So I'm going to check the other side real quick. Yep, and that's perfect. And then again, we're going to do the same things last time. We're going to start at the back. So back here, up, right there, and we're going to put our two bolts back in here first, and that'll pull the body back to where it's supposed to be back here. And there's two long bolts like this. So I'm just going to start that one. I'm not going to tighten it down. And then I can put my other one in. If this is your unit, you can go ahead and take this plastic off. I'm not taking it off because it's a brand new unit and it's going to go out to a customer, so I don't want to take any protective wrap off it until it gets to the customer, and then they can take it off. But now I can go ahead and tighten these ones down. Because now that I've lined up these two bolts, and the ones on each side in the front there, I know that this is all lined up right, and it's where it belongs. Now, I'm going to take my two bolts to go here and here, and they're the only two bolts in here that have a lock nut on them, so you can't miss them. So I'm just going to go ahead and start those both like that. Perfect. Now I can go ahead and take my 10 mil wrench underneath. Tighten that up. Same on the other side. So they're tight. Perfect. So now, next we're going to put our boot well bolts on. And these ones are the ones with the little rubber grommets. So we'll go ahead and put that one on. The next one. And the next one. And one more, and that's it. So then we'll tighten those up, and then I could put my 10 mil in the front. Just go ahead and tighten that. Now there's one 10 mil. It's just a short 10 mil. I'm trying to make my 10 mil. And that's for the one that goes right underneath there. Okay, that's nice and tight. So now it's going to be the exact same on the other side. So I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. So next what we'll do is we're going to take our switch, which is right here, and go ahead and put it back on like that, and tighten it down. And just hold it while you tighten it. It doesn't have to be so tight that you crack the plastic, anything like that, or snap the switch. So there you go. So that's on. Now we just have to put our handlebars back on, and a couple of zip ties for our wires, and that's it. So our handlebars are going to go like that. You want to make sure that when you did this, you didn't twist these brakes too much. Whoa. So this is my side here. So before you mount your handlebars though, make sure and go ahead and slip your throttle on there like that first. And then you can go ahead and put your mounts back on. Now when you put the mounts back on, the flat part goes at the bottom, and the mount with the little divot on it goes at the top. And we can put our other handlebar mount on too. And when you're doing this, when you're putting your handlebars on, if you see that, like the over there and the horn switch, I don't like the way it's pointed at the sky like that, so I'm going to adjust that before I put anything back on. And if these feel like they're not going in the holes correctly, don't force them, because you're going to end up just stripping the hole, and you don't want to do that. So just like that. I'm going to tighten them down a bit. Just my fingers. go. Now, your handlebars for kids, especially, you want them kind of lean back. Right about there is perfect for the handlebars. So, what I can do next, take my number 3. I want my throttle to look just like that. I want it to be facing a certain way up, but I don't want it like cranked too far back or like that. So right there is where I want it. Oh, way too big. Okay, so now what I want to do is I just want to tighten this in like that, and then my brake can come around like this. And your brake handles, when you're doing them, you want to make sure that your master cylinder is level. So you don't want the brake handle way up the top or way down at the bottom. And that is a number 4 to tighten that up. Like I said, you want to leave it level just like that. And when you're tightening this, you don't want to over tighten it so you snap the perch. Just when it gets nice and solid and it's not moving, then it's perfect. Now I can also tighten down my handlebars because they're where I want them to be. And the same thing with the handlebars. You just want to make sure you tighten them down snug, but not so much that you break them. Okay. So now we can go to the other side and put our other switch on. Or our other brake handle, sorry. And then we are going to zip tie these lines together. So let's go ahead and get our perch off here. And there's on these perches, there's a little arrow that points this side up. So make sure that you follow the arrow. Okay. Number 4. You can tighten that up again. Stay level with your master cylinder. Okay, now we got all that on. Now what we can do is turn our key on, make sure everything works. Yep, I got my power on. I'll try my see if it moves forward and reverse. Yep, it does. Okay, shut all that off. Now, everything's really back installed. All we have to do is put our zip ties back on our wiring, and that's it, and put our seat back on. So I'll show you how to do that next. I am just going to grab some zip ties, and I will be right back. Okay, so next what we're going to do, we're going to come down, all the way down here, and we're going to put that zip tie back on. It just goes just like that. You just want to double up the wire like this. Oops. My zip tie flip around.
Come on, double in there. There's like that. And we're going to snip that off.
Now, for the boot,
the easiest way to do that is
snip that off. What we're going to do is we're going to stand the ATV up. So, I can back up so you can see what I mean. Now, as long as your battery is clipped in, it's clipped in on both sides here, the ATV can be stood up for doing different service on it. I'm going to stand it up, strap the front bumper, go straight up. I like to put a piece of cardboard on the back, just so the rack doesn't sit on the cement. And then when we come down here, you can see all our wires right there. And it makes it a lot easier for wrapping that boot. This is the boot here. It makes it a lot easier to wrap it up if you have it stood up like this. So I'm gonna get my long zip tie. You need a long zip tie to do this one. I'm gonna grab my snips. All right. And it's, like I said, it's a lot easier to do it this way than to try and, that's right. Just trying to get the camera in a better angle so you can see. And then you can just take your boot, wrap it around all your wires like this. All your wires should have plugs, as many as you can. There you go. You just want to get that boot around them like that. And some you need to shove in, you can. Like that. And you just wrap your big zip tie around it. Just like that. And you pull tight like this, and that's it. And that's how you put your boot back on. Then we're going to snip this off, just like that. And that, guys, is how to remove and replace the body on a 1300 watt ATV.